Welcome to Seek Reality. I'm Roberta Grimes, and I'm so happy you're with us today. Oh, my dear friends, our guests today are Seek Reality very special favorites. Carol and Mikey Morgan are with us today for the 28th time, and that is an honor for us. It's a very special honor. Theirs is a truly amazing story. Mikey Morgan is a genuine sixth level being who last had lived on Earth in the 1600s. So he was already a very advanced being and vibrating almost at the Godhead level. But he was becoming alarmed at the way things are going on Earth, and well, he might be. And he wanted so much to help us spiritually. And so he began a new lifetime on Earth in 1987 that ended in 2007 deliberately so he could teach us in the voice and with the knowledge of a modern American 20-year-old. Now, Mikey answers our questions about the afterlife and a greater reality. I still can't believe it, but it's true. And he will answer whatever questions you would like answers to from the sixth level of the afterlife, the level which is, as I say, it's just below the level where God is through his mother of this most recent Earth lifetime, who was Carol Morgan, even though she insists to this day that she never would have signed up for this. She did, though. I first met Carol a few years after she had lost her son Mikey in an auto accident, and she knew nothing about the afterlife. She was very confused, and she didn't even understand what her son was telling her through a medium and then through a pendulum, which works, by the way, very well in communicating with the dead if you don't know how else to do it. Now, look, I'm a skeptic by nature. I didn't believe one word Carol was telling me, but I have tested Mikey's knowledge of the afterlife very extensively. I can vouch for the fact that he is precisely who and what he claims to be. For years, actually, I tested him. I never saw him make a mistake. In fact, when I ask him questions, Mikey will usually answer my question precisely as I asked it, and then he very patiently will extend my knowledge a little bit. He'll tell me things I didn't ask him, but I'm pretty sure are true. It's quite amazing how patient he has been with me. So in the end, I had to admit he is just exactly what he says he is. Mikey Morgan is a very venerable, sixth level being who communicates with us from very near the Godhead level, and his answers to our questions are always right. He is a wonderful gift of service to the world. Carol and Mikey, welcome. I am so glad to have you back with us again today.
Good morning, Roberta. We're back.
You're back.
Here we are.
And you
So,
still claim you never would have signed up for this, right?
that is very much correct. I would not have signed up for this, no. But apparently I did. And I mean, there's still times that I wonder what in the heck. But um, I'm going along with what I'm supposed to do. So there you go.
But you've never studied the afterlife yourself.
No, in fact, I do not read. You know what's funny with all of this, and even with writing books, Roberta, is that I don't read books. I really don't. I've never been a reader. Once I finished college, I swore I would never pick up another book again because I was so sick of reading different things that I had to for my curriculum. But I'm not a reader myself. So no, I don't, and I
What can you
still don't
do?
read. I don't read. I just do my thing, you know. So, and I talked to Mikey, about afterlife stuff, but other than that, I really try not to read other things because I just don't want to be biased with what I hear from him.
Now, Mikey was a perfectly regular guy when he was here, right?
That is correct. He was a regular young man. He loved sports and being with friends and family, and he was active and he was a nice boy. He was a nice young man. He really was a nice kind individual when he was here on earth. That I can tell you for sure.
I'm sure he was, given what he was. But he apparently, we've asked him about this. We all plan 2 or 3 exit points into our life plan. We all plan our lives. And Mikey told us, as I recall, that he planned 2. He planned one at the age of 12 and he planned one at the age of 20. Now, when he was here, he was having so much fun being here, and he was a sports fan and so on. And he planned, he was in a musical group, right? And having fun with
No,
that.
he was a DJ. So he worked
Oh, that's
as
right. I
a
remember he was
DJ.
musical. Yeah,
Yes, at Washington Bar and Grill, which was in Fort Collins, Colorado. I do believe that place is closed now, but that was a very popular college venue for where the kids would go. And Mikey was the DJ there, and he progressed to that job. He started out, I actually think he was even a bouncer of all crazy things because he was pretty tall and skinny. I don't know how that went. But anyway, I don't remember him having ever any problems, but I can't even picture him as a bouncer. But he might have started as a bouncer. He worked all different types of duties at this facility, and he wanted to be the DJ, and they gave him a chance at it, and he became popular pretty darn quick. Well, his big thing was they let him be a DJ on Thursday nights, which was the big college night, and he was just so thrilled with this, and he would play songs that, I mean, a lot of these songs are listed in his book, but I mean, he was known for the song Love Generation by Bob Sinclair, and also World Hold On by Bob Sinclair, which was songs he had heard when he had gone to Mexico on spring break. And the songs are about peace, love, and unity, and look to the rainbows and you will see the sun will shine to eternity. And when you listen to the lyrics of these songs, and these were the songs he was known for always consistently playing whenever he was a DJ, the messages were really profound and huge, with his underlying mission of what he was doing in the first place. And so
right.
it's interesting how this all unfolded, honestly.
Yeah, he's a he's a lovely, of course he as he would be, lovely, lovely person. But he was having so much fun he didn't want to leave. So he ended up dying in an auto accident. And he told us he went right through the roof of the car. He was not, which is what usually happens when people die like that in an auto crash that's going to be fatal to their body. And the other people were not even injured. They were just,
Right, minimal to no injuries, and he was ejected actually out of the sunroof, but he told me that he left his body, his soul left his body right before impact. So he said he did not feel anything. There was no pain, no nothing. I mean, he basically floated up above his body and watched everything going on below, or and that was actually very troubling for him and confusing for him, and he does describe it in detail in his book Flying High in Spirit. And it's interesting how he was torn with emotions of what he was watching, but yet as he's kind of transitioning, he was feeling all this immense love, and these loving souls were coming to guide him, and yet he could still see what was going on. It's an interesting description of what it's like to actually leave our body and pass and transition into the afterlife to heaven.
Mikey's book, Flying High in Spirit, a young snowboarder's account of his ride through heaven, which is that the title is his, the book is his. He wrote the whole thing after his death on Earth. Is the best account I have ever seen of what it's like to die. So anybody who's interested in that should certainly read his book. I'm trying to get Carol now, and I think the prompting is coming through me to her uh, to do this again. I think we'll be doing it within the next year and a half or so. So there should be another book coming from Mikey. But he just he's a lovely, lovely person, and he keeps this connection to the earth, which he died in the 1600s. That was his last formative lifetime on earth, the last one he needed to develop through the fifth level, which is what we need to do. We keep coming back to earth essentially to develop as a being to the point where we no longer need to incarnate. And so he had stopped incarnating. And then he was so compassionate about us, so worried about us, that he came back and took that voluntary lifetime. Now, I'm told by my own spirit guide that his doing that was such a service to the world and unthinkable. He didn't have to do that. Nobody, nobody would do that. It was such an extraordinary thing that he did that it developed him so much more spiritually that now he's at the top of the sixth level, I am told by my own spirit guide, Thomas. So he still comes back, however, and answers our questions, and that's what he's going to do for us today. So we are honored, more than anybody who's listening now understands, really. We are honored by a very venerable being that he still even allows himself to be called by his kid nickname. No, we don't even call him Michael Morgan now. We still call him Mikey. He's still a kid to us.
He'll
And
always be Mikey to me and to everybody who knew him here.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
everybody, that was his name. So, yeah.
But he is a very, very venerable being in reality, and we honor him and we love him so much for being willing to come back and answer these questions for us that people have emailed. Just go to info, go to the block on robertagrimes.com, which says, do you want to communicate with Roberta? Just say, I got a question for Mikey. And people do this occasionally so that there are more questions, but we will run out of questions. So if you have any kind of question you would like to ask Mikey, any question at all, please send it to me. We'll add it to the list, and you'll in the future hear Mikey answer your question. But meanwhile, we have more questions today for Mikey. And what Carol does then is she asks him the question. Now, she communicates with him all the time. She's able to communicate. Explain how you communicate just briefly with Mikey.
So I go through a ritual before I always use the pendulum because, as Mikey has told me numerous times, and I know this is, the spiritual world is big. And so you do want to be careful. So with pendulum communication, I do think it is critical that you really envision yourself in love and light to protect yourself and ask God for protection. I use a pendulum. This is my pendulum that I had received from Sally Baldwin, who was a spiritual medium who told me I had this ability, and I proceeded to tell her she was crazy at the time. But anyway, she was right. I used this little letter disc with this pendulum, and I call for him. He identifies himself. I ask specific questions that only he would know. He gives me the answers, and then I proceed on. And I literally do that ritual every single time that I do this. I hear him telepathically also. I love to use the pendulum though. It is fascinating to watch how it moves. He moves it with incredible precision, circling letters and going to different letters. And, even with this book, there was one chapter that I literally did letter for letter, and that was when he was describing the afterlife heaven in detail. And that chapter took me an incredibly long time to do. And of course, Mikey is tweaking things as we go. So I just wanted to be really careful with what I did. But I do it like that. I hear his voice. I confirm what he says to me, and that's how I answer the questions. I've always thought, after the Bible and different things, books, there's all kinds of books, but God has never stopped talking. God talks to us in many, many ways.
Right.
And we need to be open to that because our connections are constant and continuous. So don't think that what was said over 2,000 years ago is it, because it's not it. There's a lot of other ways that God speaks to us and speaks through us. And so we need to pay attention to those things. So,
That's
anyway,
right.
that's how I do it.
Okay. All right. So here's our first question. And I don't like it at all, but here it comes. Is Lucifer real? And was he an angel?
So I have to say, I don't like questions like this either. However, I did ask this question. So this is what he wants me to do. I am going to read you. So in his book, in his glossary, he's got the definition of an angel and a definition of an archangel. I'm going to read both of these definitions because they haven't changed. What he has said here, as it does not change. Angels, loving helpers that are beings specifically dedicated to assisting others on earth and in other dimensions who help protect and guide. They do not come to earth to take on a general life plan like we do. These spiritual entities are pure in love. They may appear with or without wings. Now I'm going to go to archangels. Celestial spiritual entities of great ability and love. They can be involved in many roles of assistance to others, helping in a positive and powerful way. They too will assist in different dimensions. They are the direct helpers of God. Now, now we're going to go to the question. Is Lucifer real and was he an angel? Mikey will say absolutely not. Okay. Now, he will say an angel who is pure in love is pure in love. When an entity is pure in love, it does not do the ishy pishy of, I'm not even real familiar with this whole Lucifer thing. All that I know is what was crazy is, and I wondered if this was a coincidence. Last night I was going through Netflix. I'm just learning how to do this, okay? Because I just got this. And there was a show, there was this movie, and the title of it was Lucifer. And the person on the screen was as ishy and creepy and scary as anything I've seen. And I
Why
thought,
would you?
oh,
Yeah, no.
okay, now, is that an angel?
Oh, no.
Mike, you'll say, absolutely not. Now, where does this come from? Mikey will tell me, and he has told me this over and over. And again, I am just the messenger. But
Uh-huh.
when we go back to biblical times, Mikey will tell me that stories were told to bring across a point, to teach us something.
Hmm.
But do you take it literally? Some of these stories, he says, it's unfortunate, but people will take them literally and just kind of go off on these stories when what they are is simply a story. It's not like it's something that really happened. It's something to represent what we should or shouldn't do or whatever. Do you try
Yeah,
to
so it was all made up, effectively.
basically it's a story to
Yeah,
get a point across. And I can assure you, when I saw what I saw on it was just a little thing on this. It was the movie, just the front little thing on Netflix. I'm horrible with
right.
technology, so I'm just learning. But when I saw it, I thought, oh my gosh, this is the creepiest thing ever. And it made me feel ishy. That is not an angel. Angels are positive love. Pure, Mike says they're pure love. Pure love doesn't do or act like
It has
that.
no negativity to it at all.
It
Yeah.
has no negativity to it at all. So to take these things literally is, you gotta think. I mean, I don't know, but anyhow,
So the backstory of Lucifer also makes no sense. It's also all wrong because this person who asked this question also was asking about the backstory of Lucifer, and that also makes no sense. It's also wrong.
I honestly didn't even read about the backstory. And people laugh at me. They always say, "Oh, you're always about puppies and ponies and rainbows and sunshine." Well, because it's positive, it makes me feel good. I
Right?
Anything creepy or horror based
Yeah, me
scares
too.
me. I don't like that. I mean, that's icky
Yeah,
energy. So I
that's
didn't even
right.
read about. I don't even. How did I know the Lucifer thing is ishy? Or is creepy or it's
Yeah.
negative and that's I didn't even go there. I didn't even I
You didn't even think about answering the rest because he said the whole thing is nonsense and made up.
well, right, he says it's a story. It's a story. And even when you take, and he used this example too, he says, let's take Adam and Eve. Now you take that story, and did really just two I mean, he says there's just it's so much more complex of how us souls came to this dimension is basically our school, one of our schools, because Mikey says there's other places. Don't think this
Yes.
is it.
Yes. Yes. This
You
is the
know,
worst one, we're told. This is the
well, this
hardest
is the
one.
word. He says this is the hardest. This is definitely the
They
hardest.
all tell us that.
So
We,
it's
we all decided that we wanted to get through in one go, so we came here, and this is a tough one.
this
That's
is a
right.
tough one. It's hard here. So, but we need to, I think, keep in mind that years and years ago, often teaching was done through the parables or stories. That's how they would get a
Yeah.
point across.
Yeah.
So
That's true. Okay. This questioner wants to know, is there duality in the afterlife? Or is that just in the physical world? And we all know what that means. I mean, here we have good and evil in everything. I mean, there's a lot of negativity in this life. And is there negativity in the afterlife when we
it's
go home?
all, it's Mikey just says it's all love. Okay. So the duality piece. Now we do need to understand in the afterlife, there's various, and again, he says we can't think of them as linear. It all has to do with vibration. I mean, there's different vibrations.
Different
There's
vibration.
lower and then there's higher. And why we come here is we want to increase our vibration, because the higher our vibration, the more loving, the more elaborate our reality is in the afterlife. And Mikey tells me that over and over. But as far as like the duality that we experience here, the afterlife is love. So it's not like it is here as far as the where we make the choice between negative and positive. Does that make
Yes.
sense?
Yes. And I think that he would like us to elaborate on that too, because that's a very, very important point. There, it's all love, but it's degrees of love. There is negativity there to the extent that there is lack of love. For example, what Jesus called the outer darkness, where there's wailing and gnashing of teeth, is the very bottom level of what we call the afterlife or the astral plane, which is, if you might think of it as the afterlife is the foyer where we go into this level of reality, or the 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 universe where there are other realities too, he would say that we could enter and exit to go to the astral plane. The astral plane is our true reality, where we spend most of our eternity. But in the astral plane, there's only love or lack of love, but there's no negativity as such. But we experience lack of love as negativity. But we don't know what negativity is, so we come here, and there is true negativity here. But there, we can't really grow spiritually because there's nothing to push against. We need true negativity in order for us to turn from it and grow spiritually. And that's what he's really talking about, that duality, this fellow. Is there duality in the afterlife? Is there duality in the astral plane, which is our true home? No, really. It's lack
We're
of love at the very bottom. And that lack of love is what Jesus called the outer darkness, where there's wailing gnashing of teeth. But
but
it's we,
we can
we
always improve ourselves if we
yes.
choose to do so. It's
And
not
the
like
way
eternal damnation, you
no, no,
know.
there's no eternal damnation. There's no eternal outer darkness. No. But in order to get out of the outer darkness, we need a lot of help. We can't do it alone. So that's why we get a lot of help, as much help as we possibly can manage and more we get from the loving beings, the angels, the archangels. There's no eternal anything negative at all. But in order for us to really grow and to become like Mikey, to become an archangel, to become, well, we can't ever become an archangel. We instead would just join God, really. But in order for us to really grow spiritually, we got to come to a negative place. Now, there are a variety of truly negative places, but the worst one, the one where the really tough guys come, this is the worst one right here, the earth. There is great negativity here. So
Well,
when we're in the astral plane, we feel so immersed in love. We breathe love. We live love. It's so wonderful there. We say, "Hey, I want to get to where Mikey is. I want to get to the sixth level. So I'm going to come to this earth and plan a tough life because I can have then something to really push against and grow spiritually so well that I'm going to get to where Mikey is." And when in the 1600s, that's what Mikey said. And he did it well. And look where he is now. I asked Thomas one day, my spirit guide, how far above you? And now Thomas is at least upper fifth level. He's probably lower sixth. I think he is at this point. I said, how far above you is Mikey now? And he literally said, do you see that star up there? That's how far above me Mikey is. So, you really can grow spiritually by coming here. But
so
we get here.
Mikey will tell me, and and it makes sense to me. Really, the only way we truly learn is through experience. You can say, well, whatever about some
This is
situation,
powerful. That's right.
but until you're thrown into it and you experience it, you don't know. I mean, my life has changed 180 degrees in regards to how I was before Mikey left the planet to now with what I've all experienced. And that actually is what challenged my old belief system. When I was brought up Catholic, it was strict when I was young
Yep.
and all those things. But when I started to experience the things I started to experience after his passing, it's like it challenged those beliefs. It challenged my old
Completely.
belief system.
That's
And,
what happens. Yeah.
once you experience these things that can happen. And I'm talking when I think about all the stuff that happened after Mikey's accident and the signs and the dreams and different things, I thought, there's more to the story. There's
Much
really more to
more.
the story.
Yeah,
And there
that's
is more to the
wonderful. That's
story.
wonderful. And that's true. Yes. But you come to this earth and there is so much negativity. And if you choose to push against it, to reject it, to embrace love in this swamp of negativity, you can grow so much spiritually. It's incredible. And you're experiencing that now. And
Yes,
that's how
I
you
mean, it's
grow spiritually. That's why this works so well. And it's possible to grow from, level 3, level 4, which is where most people are, right up to the brink of level 6 if you use the earth well. It's possible to do it. Many people do it. But
right. I mean,
that's
it
for.
depends upon what you do with what you're thrown. I always tell people that it's,
Yes,
what do you do with what you're thrown?
that's right. That's exactly right. But no, that's wonderful, and that's really true. Um, yeah, this fellow asked, do angels evolve? I don't think they do. Did you ask Mikey that question?
They
They already
don't.
evolve?
So they already are pure in love. They're pure love. They're pure love. And so he says they don't evolve like we do. I
Right.
mean, obviously, there's people here that really struggle and with things, and there's a lot of negativity here that can be created by choices people make.
Hmm.
So we're different. We're a soul. We're souls. We're human souls. Angels are a pure love entity, is how he describes them. He says they're creatures of pure love. And they certainly can appear here in this dimension. And, you hear stories where they have an experience and all of a sudden the person vanishes or whatever. And they're like, oh my gosh, I feel like that was an angel that was helping me. Mike says that
Yes.
is a
Yes, yes,
real,
yes.
absolutely a real concept. They can do this. Again, it's how they resonate their energy. It's all about vibration and energy. If they meet our vibrational level, they can be seen and they can resonate their energy to look in human form and do their little good deed. And then, boom, they're gone, right? While they vanish out of our sight because their vibration then can suddenly change back. They have that ability to fluctuate. And that's how visions even occur and how Jesus would appear and just all. I mean, he says that's absolutely real.
Yes, totally real. Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay. Is there freedom of choice in the afterlife? Can we choose to do anything we want to do?
We can within our vibrational level. So if you're lower well, this is, if you're vibrate, if you're vibrating at a lower dimension, there's resistance. You can't really go higher. Like to, let's say I go back to the afterlife and I'm in level 3 and Mikey's at 6. He can come see, basically, he can come see me, but I can't, I mean, I can't, my energy won't allow me to,
Yes.
there's like a resistance to go
Yeah,
higher.
they say it feels like you're being battered unbearably if you try to go above the level of your
Yeah,
of your natural spiritual development.
correct. So you can't go up or you can't,
You
it's
can't
not,
go
and again,
higher,
it's not
you
up
can go
either, but
lower. Yes,
right.
yes.
So in that regard, but otherwise, within your dimension
Everybody
or
usually can
below,
get to level 3.
Yes. And
everybody.
then
And
you absolutely have freedom of choice of what you and Mikey, oh God, he talks about different dimensions where some people they're, living in the Renaissance times, or that, you can do all
yeah,
this fun
it's
kind of stuff.
oh, it sounds like everything is all these Renaissance land and oh, I don't know, Cowboy Town and
There's
all these,
he
and
says
we're
like
having
so
fun all the time, and you don't even have to sleep. You do one big sleep when you get there. After that, you don't even have to sleep. You just play all the time.
yeah, you can do all different kinds of things. So, but again, he
Oh,
always says the higher your vibrational, the higher you vibration, the more loving, the more elaborate your reality in the afterlife. And so that's the driving force of why we come to this place. And I mean, it's hard here. I think
it's
it's hard
because you
here.
want to be able to go higher. You want to develop
Correct.
more. It becomes
Yeah.
frustrating that you can't. Thomas Jefferson communicated through uh, whatever his name is. I always keep losing names, but he his voice is so beautiful. Thomas Jefferson, he had this soft Southern voice, and he said not long after he got there, he was so because if someone shields your voice, like your spirit, you'll be able to go higher if someone shields you. Like when you first arrive, I'm sure that Mikey is going to shield you and take you to the sixth level. No question. You're his mother. He's going to do it. And you're going to go. And so Thomas Jefferson said when he first got there, a friend of his shielded him and took him to the sixth level. And he said it was so beautiful. It was so wonderful. But he was not at that level yet, so he couldn't stay. But he said he really would love to be able to get to that level. And he would love to be able to do that. But it was just beautiful. He loved it. But no, you otherwise you're I think he was level four, he said naturally. And that was all he could do was stay at level four. But it is playtime. We are loved beyond our ability to understand how much we are loved, and we have so much fun. I mean, all the things that we would wish we could do. I mean, we all think, or if we are, of a religious bent, that we're just going to go and have to sit and sing boring hymns at the throne of God. No, A, there is no throne of God. God never appears ever. I mean, as far as I've been able to determine, looking like a being. Sixth level beings appear looking like a being, but not God. And eventually we do get to join the Godhead if we choose. If we don't choose, we don't have to join the Godhead, and we can always stay at any lower level we choose. As far as I can determine, Jesus stays at level three, which he certainly wouldn't need to, just because he wants to welcome anyone who wants to meet him. He's that humble. It's quite
I think
amazing.
Jesus is a pretty busy soul.
Extremely so. Oh my God. Imagine if everyone's praying to you all the time. He probably needs one of those old-fashioned ladies with, or a whole group of them plugging in all these people. Yeah, he's still with the, your number 400,982. But no, there, apparently that's not the case. Apparently inside Jesus, there is the ability to talk to 8,427 people at once. I have no idea. I've asked my Thomas that, my spirit guide, and he says, no, they're able, God and Jesus are able to talk to everybody at once. I don't understand it at all, but apparently they do.
Well, when Mikey describes God as a collective of absolute, pure, unconditional love that's infinite. So,
Yes,
I mean, God is not a man that sits on a throne, which is
exactly.
how
That's
he's
true.
described here. And he just said, he always tells me it's just beyond what our brain here can comprehend of the magnitude of what this is. But he says when you transition, it's this immense, you immediately feel the presence of God, which is the love, the incredible, I mean, absolute, pure, unconditional love, which here on earth, there's just so much stuff going on. I don't even think we can wrap our head around what this must be like, you
There's
know?
love and only love. On
That's all there
level
is.
three, which is where most people arrive, nearly everybody arrives on level three. It's it's what you breathe, it's what you see, it's what you feel, it's what you live. There's only pure love. And that's the lowest level that everybody inhabits. Level two is halfway to level one, and level one is the outer darkness. So it's level three. To think that level three is that densely full of love and that beautiful that we admit, it empowers us. You breathe the love. You don't, it's to think that it's that wonderful and it's the lowest of the love levels, and it's still that wonderful. It's hard for us to comprehend how wonderful everything is. I mean, really, as many people will say to me when they first start to get it, why do we ever come back here? It's just that it's even better above that level. It's so much better. And
Well,
we
and
start
Mike,
getting frustrated.
Mikey will say, when and again, we can't wrap ourselves around the word, at least I can't. Okay, eternal. So it's just continuous. We just keep going. And so when we're here, it's like a bad day at school, but because it
That's a,
seems like
that's a really bad day at
it's
school.
it's
That's
so
true.
long here. I feel like, oh, this is so long. Well, then when you go back, he's like, wow, that, I mean, it doesn't, you don't have that same,
No,
you have
and
just
there's
a
no
whole
sense
better
of
understanding of it
time.
all.
There's no sense of time. Time doesn't exist there. So you
That's
can,
correct.
it's not there's no direction either of time. So you feel
Nope.
very powerful. And also, Thomas says, think of every craving you've ever had, and that craving develops in you to go higher, to love more, to feel more, to have more of what because people come among you and you go and you go and visit Jesus perhaps, and to have more of what the upper level people have, you want more of what they have. And that's why you end up saying, oh, I'm going to have to go back to earth and grow more spiritually because I can't grow here. I'm where I am, but I can't get higher. And
And
that's why we come back.
we can go other places, but like you say, here, he says, here, this is where you get socked
This
with a
is
lot
wh-
of
this
stuff.
is where you can grow by leaps and bounds.
Right, because it's so that there's just so many concepts here that really challenge you through your whole
This is where
lifetime.
you develop those spiritual muscles and nowhere. Well, there are other planets, but so so he told me one day it's like if you go into you know the cantina, and I guess it's one of the Star Wars movies, and you go into that cantina and there's people there from all the other planets, and you go in and you say, I'm from Earth. Well, they all step aside and they let you go right up to the bar because you're from that planet, that really tough planet. You must be pretty tough yourself. That's
You,
that's what the Earth is like.
speaking of those kind of movies, when you think about it, um, and Mikey says too, these movies, there's subtle underlying messages in I mean, they can tell. I mean, when you figure we really are all fellow space travelers, I mean, when you think
Yeah.
about it. It's kind
Oh,
of true.
it's so true. Oh my goodness, we are so over time. I just so enjoy talking to you about all of this. And I so enjoy your wonderful, wonderful, beautiful son. But he knows that. He knows how I feel about him. He is such a gift to us, and what he brings us is such a gift. And the next question on our list is quite a powerful one. I'd like to begin our next time together with that. But I urge everyone who's listening, if you think of it, if you have a question that you don't think we've addressed in a while, or a different question altogether, do send it because Mikey loves to answer our questions. He's such a joy, really, to know. And we are going to try to work on another book. There are some questions that might have belonged to a forum a while back, which I don't know if it's kind of the forum is going to continue as it has, but there are a lot of banked questions there, and we're going to try to do another book within the next year or two, and we'll put them there. But I urge you to read Mikey's book if you haven't. It's called Flying High in Spirit, a young snowboarder's account of his ride through heaven. He still snowboards there, by the way. Does he still?
Oh, absolutely. There's certain things he's not going to give up as far as, again, the things we love to do here, we can do there. So, and he loves snowboarding. So I always tell him too when I get there because I love dancing and I love kayaking and stuff like that. So, I mean, I know I can get to do that there, and I'm sure I'll never stop doing those things either.
Next time we do this, we're going to talk about how sports are different and how they're the same in the afterlife, and we'll talk about his snowboarding too. But we're really pretty much out of time. You stay put, and I'm going to just talk about who we're going to have as a guest next time. Oh, I so much enjoy talking to you all the time. Oh, once again, my beloved friends, we've come to the end of our time together. This has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. I'm happy you could be with us today, but please never forget that you are a powerful, eternal being. You never began, you never will end. If you can hear my voice now, you are eternal by your very definition. And when you understand all the implications of that fact, it changes everything in your whole life for the better. Next week, our guest will be Kim Hodas. I think that's the right pronunciation. She'll be with us for the second time. Her story is kind of an amazing one. She went through the temporary, always temporary, loss in this lifetime of two children, and she proved clearly that death is, of course, never separation. Instead, it's transformation, as she would say. Love is the eternal thread that binds us across all dimensions of existence. She's the author of a lovely book called Beyond Grief: How a Son's Afterlife Connection Transformed a Mother's Loss into a Remarkable Spiritual Journey. In her book, Kim shares the beautiful continuation of her relationship with her son Rob beyond the veil. Her work reveals yet again the glorious fact that death is never an ending at all, but rather, she calls it more like a sacred initiation into deeper spiritual truths, just as Carol and Mikey have yet again demonstrated today. Please be sure to join us next week. You're going to love this. And this week, of course, our guests have been our dear and cherished friends, Carol and Mikey Morgan, who have been with us for a wonderful 28th time. As you likely already know, Mikey is a sixth level being who had become perfected back in the 1600s, but he was so concerned about us, think of that in 1987 he took an additional lifetime that ended in 2007 when he was 20 years old. Here, think how old he is there. And I've tested Mikey Morgan. I can tell you he's not just the real deal, he is much, much more than that. Everything he tells us about himself is true. And if you have a question, please send us more. We're getting to the end of these. Send it to info@robertagrimes.com. I'll add it to Mikey's list, and we're going to go on and on forever doing this. And I hope we will do another, please, Carol, we'll do another book. I would love to finally stump Mikey, but I don't think we ever will. And that's about all the time we have now. You know, I have books, of course. Just go to Amazon, and we have more than 600 past episodes now, so I don't think you'll ever get to the end of those. We've been doing this, I think it's been 13 years at this point. And there are more recent, of course, videos on Roku, Fire Stick, YouTube, and elsewhere. Meanwhile, this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. I love you all. Please enjoy and make the most of this coming week in our one reality, always knowing that you are a powerful, eternal being, and you, in particular, you, most of all in this entire universe, God loves you most of all. That's true, and you will believe it when you return home. You are infinitely, eternally, perfectly, and forever loved.